Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to For Strategy Gaming StarCraft 2 series for you today. This matchup, it's going to be a best of 3 between Baboon Prime, and this is actually CheckPrime. I have it on good authority that this is CheckPrime as our pink Zerg player here in the bottom right, and in the upper right, we do have Fenix as our blue Zerg player. So yes, CheckPrime versus Fenix, Terran versus Zerg. We are here on Typhoon Peaks, best of 3. Let's get things started here with game number 1. Oh yeah. How excited are we? We can see actually CheckPrime doing that little mineral, that little trickery trick thing there where you constantly click on the mineral patch to try to get them all mining from the closest ones, that kind of stuff that's going on. And I don't know, maybe Fenix was doing that as well. That was like a big thing a couple weeks ago. Everyone was like, oh, everyone's got to do this now. It's the best. It's just one of those high-end things. It doesn't make a ginormous difference, but it makes at least a small one. And this is a game of inches, much like football. Can't believe I just likened StarCraft to football, but yes, this is a game of numbers and inches, really, at the high level of play. So every small little thing that you do to help your cause is certainly worth it. We can see right now, actually, Fenix. Very fast refinery right now. I am expecting an incredibly fast factory. That's what is expected. That's it. So essentially what he is planning to do here and getting the refinery this fast is he's timing it, of course, so that the second this barracks finishes, he will have just enough extra Vespene to be able to drop his factory right away. And then from there, well, he has all sorts of options. By going for that fast factory, you can go, of course, super quick Banshees if that's what you choose. But more likely, we'll probably see fast Hellions because you do want that earlier aggression. Just going straight to Banshee without any aggression prior to that point isn't something that's very typical. That's how I would put that. Back over here, CheckPrime is going with that fast expansion and then extractor, and then that pool will be coming very soon as well. Also note with his extractor timing is that he will have enough Vespene to get that metabolic boost as soon as that pool finishes. So both players timing their buildings to be able to get things instantly after something else happens. Anyways, yes, what is going on over here? Floating quite a bit of extra Vespene right now. Let's see, is that factory going to come down right now? It should be. And actually, will he be going factory reactor? That could be why he was delaying it. Let's take a look here. He's got that extra Vespene. There it is, my friends. So he was holding off until he had 150 Vespene, which allowed him to go factory and then putting a reactor right on the racks. So yes, we will be seeing that very strong Hellion opening, most likely. That is kind of what I expect to happen. We can also see, pay attention to the fact that he is just on the one refinery. Even though he got the super early, he hasn't bothered to get the second one yet because he does need those extra minerals because he is likely, like I said, going for those Hellions. Back over here, CheckPrime does have the expansion up, and there goes the metabolic boost, pulling his guys off of gas, giving him those extra resources to get his queens up, get enough Zerglings, and then drone up fairly hard. So let's take a look over here, and there it is, factory finished, dropping down the factory on the reactor that was built with that barracks, and here comes the double Hellions. And let's take a look to see if he decides to move into Starport as well, and there he is. So Fenix moving right into Starport after the fact, opening up with this Hellion harass. Very, very nice indeed. I love early game harass. Really no reason not to do it against a Zerg player. Either moving out with some marine push, so marine bunker pressure. You also see, you've been seeing more and more actually players opening up with a Reaper, a fast Reaper to do a little bit of harassment and then moving into an expansion. But this, of course, being one of the most popular ways of opening up is going with Hellions one way or the other early game. Hellions so very strong, and we can see right now already disrupting what CheckPrime is hoping to do. He has been forced to pull guys off of his expansion, so not mining, even if it's just for a short period of time. This is certainly good for Fenix right now. Certainly paying off for him, and moving forward, he's got a couple more Hellions streaming across the map right now as well. The Starport is finished. We'll be switching it with that. There we go, putting it right on the tech lab, so we will be seeing a follow-up with Banshees. So Fenix opening up Hellion into Banshee play, and let's see, he's going to try to sneak these Hellions up in the main, and oh boy, CheckPrime wasn't ready for that. Trying to get us around with those Zerglings, also engaging with the Queen, but some nice micro with those Hellions, just tearing through those Zerglings. Still moving forward, trying to get that surround, doing a bit of damage. Now just down to those 2 Hellions. Anything sub 3 Hellions, you're not nearly as effective. It's with those 3 Hellions that you're able to one-shot those workers, and you do much better, obviously, against those Zerglings. And once you get down to a 2 count, it's definitely much more difficult to deal with those Speedlings. But here we go. We do have that Banshee follow-up coming on through. Here comes an expansion as well. No more Hellions coming into the mix. He is not building any more Hellions right now. Actually coming out with another Rax. We'll be relying on Marines. I do expect him to lift off this factory soon and replace it with one of these Rax to go for those double Marines, because obviously the likely transition after this opening harassment is going to be Marine tank. That's just popular because it's so effective. And right now the Zerglings outside of Fenix's base for CheckPrime have spotted that Banshee, so CheckPrime is aware that this is coming. We can see him pulling back, trying to get both of his queens together. Two queens will take out that one Banshee. Banshee will be target firing down. We do have a Spore Crawler coming into play as well. Here comes that second queen. Not enough energy to transfuse the first, though. He could drop it, but no retreating as he is very low in health. Doesn't want to lose that Banshee. He will actually be searching now for those Zerglings. He can get a few free kills here if he just chooses to engage them. Another Spore Crawler sitting back here. Obviously a big deterrent for those Banshees. No cloak being researched at all, though. He is just sticking with these with this one Banshee, and then also actually getting that Viking as a follow-up. After that first thing. Usually, you know, we'll see like an opening Banshee for harassment, or if you see that once the Starport comes out, sometimes you'll see the opening Medevac for a drop. But then it's almost always followed up by a Viking, because that's a very good follow-up. Able to snipe any of these Overlords hanging around the map. They are way too slow at this point in the game to escape. So there we go. A couple free Zergling kills there for that Banshee, and here comes that transition as expected into Marine tank. The orbital command just about finished for Fenix. He'll be transferring that on over. Now let's go back into CheckPrime's base, seeing some pretty decent saturation over here. He just got up these extractors. We'll be getting that saturated as well. Got that layer tech coming on through. Viking taking a few shots there from that queen, forced to push back. And actually lots of queens here for CheckPrime, sitting with 4 right now. It looks like, yes, 4 queens. That is quite a bit. I would expect about 3 and possibly even just 2, but he does want these extra queens here for that Banshee defense as well. Spreading this creep, loving this right here. Creep spread so very important. Obviously, it is nullified by a simple scan and the A move of a few units, but if you can get it out there as much as possible, certainly beneficial for you. Now, CheckPrime will be coming into a third. He does know right now that Fenix did come out with this expansion, so does of course want to get up a third for himself. And we did lose another Overlord. Not sure where that Viking was able to snipe it. It must have been the one that was chilling out over here. So right now the Viking sitting with 2 kills. Hopefully he's able to find this third at some point for Fenix. Zerglings moving on back after confirming the fact that this expansion was in fact up, and yes, as expected, Marine tank. Here's some Medevacs coming into play. Probably just get rid of that tech lab, or maybe put a Rax on there and get a reactor there on that starport. Pumping out double Medevacs, certainly very, very strong. Here comes a small little push right now, though, from Fenix. It's going to be a stim timing push. He also has that siege mode for his tanks. We've got a couple of Banelings coming in. Inspire, 50% of the way finished, so we will not have Mutas to help deal with this first engagement. And look at that, as mentioned, a simple scan plus a move is enough to take out quite a few creep tumors, unfortunately, for CheckPrime. And setting up position right now. Will be dropping, and he's going to force the cancellation of this expo. What's going to happen is he will stim up these Marines, engage this expansion here, and then just pull back if any Zerglings come. But there we go. Speedlings and Banelings rolling forward, trying to get us around on those tanks. Will the Marines drop the expansion? The Banelings rolling right into those Marines, taking them out. The Speedlings and Banelings want to drop down, but it is too late. CheckPrime loses that expansion, lifting up the Marines and heading back home. Fenix is safe right now with those, but again, the damage is done. Look at that, CheckPrime losing that expo, pretty devastating, and that's a type of harassment that you need to do as a Terran player. Stop that Zerg from macroing up. But here we go. We will be seeing a time for a response here from CheckPrime. He has got 8 Mutas coming on through. Rebuilding that expansion right now as well. We did see an in-base hatch building. Where was it? I could have sworn. Oh, no, actually, it's this hatch over here. But, that's going to be forced to be canceled as well. Nice spotting there by Fenix, forcing the cancel of that expansion. We'll be heading on back. Now, where are those Mutas? Here we go. Mutas in play, sniping that dastardly Viking there. We've got a couple Marines, and that's actually enough to do quite a bit of damage to this amount of Mutas. We do need to see CheckPrime push out, though. I really want to see him move into Fenix's base and try to harass. We are, of course, going to see a response of turrets and trying to maybe scatter Marines throughout the base. Now, Speedlings, Banelings, and Mutas moving across the map. They are looking for that Medevac and these Marines sitting right here. Unfortunately, not finding them, though. Hunkered away in this position over here. A couple more Marines and a Medevac sitting over here as well. But that is exactly what we're seeing CheckPrime do right now. He is just trying to spot that medevac and snipe it out of the sky. Unfortunately, not going to happen for him. Looks like he does get this free Marine kill, though, and then heads along his merry way. Are we seeing him come out with some more? Uh-oh, needs to be careful. Stim Marines, very dangerous to those mutas. Right now, still just with the 8 mutas, not coming out with any more, actually droning up very hard. He does want to get some saturation on this expansion. The burrow research just about finished as well. Hiding some banelings around the map can be pretty devastating to a Terran player who is unaware of their positioning, and it looks like Fenix will be getting ready to move into his third. Again, we do have the third up for CheckPrime. Fourth is on the way. I expect this drop to come into play at some point soon, though, and try to harass this attempted fourth again. Still, though, just with the 8 mutas, he is content with this. He's really not looking to come out with any more, just trying to do a little bit of harass, at least for the time being. We've got a lot of speedlings coming on through, though. A few banelings in play here as well. Now, back over here for Fenix, a decent tank line. Hopefully gets that one in siege sometime soon, sitting with 2 factories, 5 racks as well. It's pretty much the composition you're looking for when you're moving into 3 bases, and there is finally the reactor there on that starport. And here we go, a little bit of free kills here for these mutas. Needs to be careful, though, of those Stim Marines, so pulling back right now into the main base, and he's got an opportunity to do a little bit of damage here. He could kill off these SCVs, kill a couple of these depots here as well. At the same time, here we go, engagement with those Marines, moving up onto that third, trying to micro away with Stim plus that medevac. They should be able to do a bit of damage, but actually getting surrounded and outnumbered by those Zerglings. Zerglings with that 0-1 upgrade as well certainly helped them out quite a bit. Take a look over here for Fenix. How is he looking for upgrades? He is 0-1 himself as well. Nothing for his mech, but he does have upgrades for his bio. Finally coming out with an armory right now. Got that double medevac churning out, and there's that third up and running right now with a couple of turrets in the mix as well. Certainly will help defend, but here comes the big push right now for Fenix, setting up a siege line in the middle. There is the scan. See you later. All of that creep tumor work gets obliterated. We've got a few more mutas that did come into production. 16 right now, sitting as the total number. Now this is a big, strong, and dangerous push. He just really needs to, as long as he engages properly and takes these opportunities, sniping out a few straggler Marines, getting that tank as well. That's exactly the kind of thing you need to do. Whittle away that Terran army, and that's going to put you in a good position once that big engagement does come through. Scan going down on the main army here of CheckPrime. Fenix is aware. That's a pretty heavy force there, and I do not think that Fenix is ready to engage that. Lifting up another medevac, lifting up some Marines in that medevac, and these are some pretty strong muta numbers. We've got 6 more coming through as well. CheckPrime really in a good spot right now. He is setting himself up for success. Again, picking off stragglers, those guys trying to go to the bulk of the army. That's a very strong tactic, so great job, CheckPrime. Fenix will be moving that drop here into this position. Now, we have a couple spine crawlers that'll make that more difficult, plus those Zerglings. Again, that Muta Cloud dancing around, working up to Hive Tech as well, so we might be seeing that transfer into Brood Lords at some point, but it will depend on when Fenix tries to engage. But Fenix sitting with very low numbers here, and that's primarily due to the fact that we're just seeing these mutas move back and forth right into this central corridor that those units are trying to stream in to help reinforce, and I don't even think that there are enough Marines right now to deal with the push. If CheckPrime did push out right now, he really could overwhelm, but what he's going to do is try to thin up these tank numbers. He's taking out another tank, and he should get another before he retreats, and look at that, now just 2 tanks, and he will be forced to unsiege. He realizes he's in a terrible position right now, needs to pull back. Very nice muta play there by CheckPrime. I'm certainly thoroughly impressed with that. I think we did see a little bit drop, but that does look like it got taken care of, no problem. Didn't do much damage at all, and wow, I really impressed there with CheckPrime. He just did a phenomenal job. You know, a Terran player setting up a shop basically in the middle of the map is very dangerous for a Zerg player, so very nice on CheckPrime. Look at that, CheckPrime dropping 3 expansions right now while he moves in with some muta harass. Big Death Cloud. Would be concerned about Thors, but obviously none of those are in play. None of them are coming either, and here we go right now. Fenix realizing he does need to do some damage. The Zerg player has been macroing up for far too long. We'll be trying to push through these rocks at the same time. Looks like CheckPrime will be getting ready to push out with an engagement of his own. So here we go right now. Both players mobilizing their army, and here comes that big push from Fenix. And how is this going to go down? This is pretty dangerous right now. You can see definitely Fenix is quite a bit behind. He's setting up a heavy siege line, but there we go. Big Death Cloud taking care of those turrets, stopping all mining from this expansion. And how will Fenix react? Is he just going to continue pushing, or will he pull back? Unfortunately, Fenix losing that expansion. That is too bad. dropping a sensor tower here to try to spot those mutas, but Speedlings and Banelings get ready to roll forward. Those tanks completely out of position. This is very dangerous right now for Fenix. Speedlings will try to get a surround on those Marines, allow those Banelings to move on in, just completely bypassing the main army, rolling right on into the expansion, getting as many free kills as they can. Here come those Marines. Oh, look at that burrow, though, nullified by that scan, and mutas trying to move forward. I think there are enough mutas there should be to work through these Marine numbers, but no, look how strong those Marines are at shredding through. But the burrow Baneling, there was a few remainder, managed to finish off the rest of those Marines, and this is going to allow the mutas to do quite a bit of damage. Worried about reinforcements, though. He is heading back, and CheckPrime looking pretty solid right now, boy. I'm impressed. Let's take a look at the unit loss tab. Now, Fenix did even up those numbers a little bit. He's not quite as far behind as he was prior to that engagement. But still, CheckPrime is really in a phenomenal position. We're seeing this tank push. Not too concerned, though. We've got Speedlings and some Brewlords coming into play. That Infestor will take care of just this really measly group of Marines here. Pretty much just a ton of tanks and really nothing else. Speedlings working up the backside as well as some Banelings. Will be trying to roll in and get a few free kills. Marines do need to be careful about getting within range of those Banelings, just kind of rolling all over the place. And here come the Brewlords. Those tanks are not ready for that. And there is Fenix calling the GG. Fenix opened up the game with some Hellion harass, and that was actually able to force CheckPrime to stop mining from his expansion. Able to sneak the Hellions into the main, Fenix was able to do a little bit of damage to the Zerglin count of CheckPrime, but unfortunately didn't end up hitting the economy very hard, and we're going to see CheckPrime respond properly, getting a nice surround on those Hellions and finishing off the threat. Fenix moved out with a Marine tank medevac composition at around 11 minutes, set up shop right outside the natural and third expansion of CheckPrime. He then used this positioning to drop some Marines inside of the third expansion and attack to try to kill off the expansion before CheckPrime would be able to respond. CheckPrime was able to get a surround on those tanks and use those Banelings to shoo away the Marines, mopping up the main force here of Fenix. However, Fenix was still able to kill off the expansion. After killing off the third, Fenix spotted the fourth and was able to force a cancel of that as well. After dealing with all that early game harass, CheckPrime was able to return the favor. He finally got some mutas into play, was able to kill off a few SCVs and slow up this expansion. Around 15 minutes, Fenix moved to the center of the map to try to get some map control and set up a little bit of a contain, but with some great muta play by CheckPrime, killing off reinforcements, he was actually able to starve these forces, slowly pick off tanks, and force Fenix to retreat. Realizing he was a little bit behind and needed to do some damage, Fenix tried breaking through the destructible rocks to move into CheckPrime's natural. Realizing this was happening, CheckPrime moved his Speedlings and Banelings to try to swoop up the backside of Fenix, was able to do a bit of damage to these Marine numbers, and completely stay out of the range of all of Fenix's tanks. With the great muta play, CheckPrime bought himself time to tech up to Broodlords. This was something that Fenix was not ready for, and at this point he just called the GG. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. This was Game 1 between CheckPrime and Fenix. We will be moving on to Game number 2 in just one moment. As always, if you guys like the content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again, guys. Keep watching and keep owning.